Okay, so in this video we're gonna strip apart this carburetor because it doesn't when I push down on it, I have a lot of pressure, which means it's not going in or out of this hole. And as you can tell on the inside, the valve actually came out. So it came out of this weed whacker on the side there. And if you want to know what the numbers and specs are on the carburetor by the magic of technology, ta-da! So this is what this is. Okay? So let's look at it together. Now we're going to take it apart with a screwdriver. Okay? Okay, so here is the carburetor all laid out in its pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this part here and this part here. And I do that by pulling out my little thing from my cabinet here with all the other parts. I just look onto the picture here and it matches. This here matches with this here. It's got all the stuff, so I just pull out a bag just like that. Plop. Put that in there. Put this back in here. Close it. Put it back on the shelf. And I just replace the parts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how all this goes together and what you should be looking out for and how and why this happened. Okay, so just give me a minute. Okay, let's start with these two here. This is the barrel that fits into here. Okay, now those two holes where the screws go into match up with those two holes, and you can put them in the wrong way. You can either put them in this way or this way. Which is the right way? The right way is this here, where the seal goes over this opening right here. You see that? Okay, this opening and this screw are opposite of each other, so it goes in this way. Okay, now put those two tiny screws into that. Now that is done, flip it over. Okay, so this here's the old part. You can tell it's old just by its the way it looks worn. It's crusty, and it goes on there just like this. Okay, so I have my two new parts right there. So this is the actual cardboard thing, and this is the rubber, and that will go on to there just like I showed you. I can't do things with one hand, but before you put that on there, see that spring? That spring goes right there, right in the middle. Okay, so let me get that with the on a pause. Okay, once you got that on there, then this goes on there. Okay, and it goes on there just like this. So you see this area right here where the spring was, that goes over top of this. Okay, and those two pinholes will fit into those holes right there, and you just put them on there just like that. Once again, I can put this on pause. Okay, now once you got that on there, this goes on here. The star faces towards the metal. Okay, and you got to pay attention to these holes. The way that you can find out is this hole here goes with this hole. This hole right there matches up with that one. Okay, so you put that onto there just like that. Okay, now this one this one here will fit on there the exact same thing. Pay attention to those holes. Okay, this hole right there matches with that. This hole right there matches up to that. Okay, then just put it on there, right? This is a one-way valve. Air goes in through the middle when you press down on the primer button, and then when you release the primer button, these flap up. Okay, so that goes into there, Fuck. You know what? Here, let me try again. Okay, so once you got that in there, then this goes on. Okay, so put your before I put the primer bulb on, of course, the primer bulb goes on just like that. And I did it again. But I want to show you something very important. You see those two holes right there? Okay, those two holes? They're supposed to match up with those two things right there, those vents. You turn that over. Those vents have to do with the air coming in for the primer bulb, okay? So, this goes onto there, just like that. And then this goes onto there, just like that, okay? This is how it's supposed to look. Now let me put this all together again for the third time. So there we have it, a fully completely assembled carburetor. Now when you press the primer bulb down, it should look like that. If you are pressing it down and it's bulging at the sides there, that means there's something internally blocking a hole, like it could be a piece of garbage or whatever, stale gas, crystallizing or whatever. If you're pushing it down and it's bubbling out and it feels like just a huge amount of pressure, you got to take it apart again. Now, we're going to test this to see if it drinks. But if you put it up to your ear, I can't remember which one. One goes out, I think it's this one is out. The gas comes in here, goes out here. Okay, so the fuel filter is attached to the hose, which is on this one here. What we're going to do is we're going to test the carburetor to see if it's drinking properly and not leaking. Okay, in this video we're going to demonstrate how a carburetor should be drinking. So in here I have fluid. I'm using CLR just to clean the inside of this. So when I press the primer bulb, that part there where the fuel line should be attached to the fuel filter in the regular fuel in your weed whacker will flow through there and out through this part here. This part here will just simply have another line going back into the fuel tank. So when I press this, you should see it getting sucked up. So here we go. Pressing down, releasing. Oh, and there we go. See that? We have fuel flow. Good. That is 2 presses, 3 up, 4 up, 5 up, 6 up, 7. See that? That is the cycle for now when you do that, there should be 0 leaks anywhere, and that primer bulb should be full like it is right there. Some primer bulbs are upside down, some are right side up, but not necessarily all primer bulbs will be full. What I want to do is I want to show you guys something here. I'm going to use this. When you are cleaning this carburetor, the surface on this top part here needs to be absolutely clean, and the bottom part on here. On this part of this brake right here needs to be clean. On this part of that brake needs to be clean, and you need to scrape it off with anything to get it clear. There needs to be absolutely 0 crud in this cracker from the old gasket on any of these 2 surfaces. If there is, take a wire brush, scrub them off, scrape them off, do whatever, get them clean. But there needs to be 0 air gap between this brake and this brake right here. If you find that you are having trouble with the return, like there's air bubbles in the return from this line here, okay, if you find air bubbles, that means there is a problem, an air leak in the carburetor. Okay, now after showing you guys this is exactly how it's supposed to look with 0 leaks. You see some spillage right there, that's just because of the demonstration. But anyhow, that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you should be cleaning your carburetors, and how they should be drinking, and how the primer bulb should look when they are drinking. Okay, that's it.